Today we'll be looking at some key features in castles and also getting rid of a few myths. I was so pleased about the response and positive feedback I got from my previous castles video that I thought I'd explore a little bit more, because castles are interesting places to go. First of all, the picture you just saw was of Bodiam Castle. That's an interesting castle because it isn't as big as it looks, and yet it's used in lots of pictures because it's very castle-y. The reality is that Edward Dallingridge, the guy who built it in the late 14th century, deliberately designed it to get as big a bang for his bucks that he could. He earned his money through the 100 Years' War, and his family didn't come from an illustrious line of very rich and noble people. So therefore he wanted to build a home that his family could pretend, and we've talked about this before, pretend that actually it's got more heritage than it is. One interesting thing about that castle is it's got a moat, but it's built on top of a hill, so if you seriously wanted to attack it, it wouldn't be hard to drain the moat. But what it does do is reflect the castle in the water, so it's like you get two castles for the price of one. However, what I'm going to do is show you some of the features within castles, demystify a few of the terms to do with castles, but also to get rid of a few myths about them as well. I hope you enjoy. First up, they may not look like much, but spiral staircases are an important area of defence in castles. They all go clockwise, and if you think about it, if you are running up the stairs trying to attack, your sword arm is blocked by the central core of a spiral staircase. If, however, you are a defender, you can easily strike people because you are going down on them. So castles in general just have loads of layers of defence. They can be broken into, but they're designed to be broken into as difficultly as possible. Almost anywhere where attackers would be delayed, at like a gate or portcullis, you'll see holes in the ceiling. These are murder holes, and they did not pour boiling oil down them. Instead, they poured boiling water, or might pour quicklime, an irritant down there, anything to make things unpleasant for attackers. Then there's the term barbican. What does that actually mean? Well, basically, it's a tower area jetting out from the rest of the castle, usually defending gates or portcullises again. Ultimately, it's a kill zone. It's a place where if you attack it, even if you break into it, you're not going to get into the main castle. This one here actually leads me on to the other area of windows. Anytime you see a window in a castle, even in a barbican, those are being knocked through much later. Windows are a weak point. You don't want weak points in your castle, but they do allow sunlight to come in and make things a bit brighter. So these are all later additions. It may sound odd, but sieges had rules. Quite often what would happen is when a castle was enveloped, surrounded by an attacking force, the defenders were given a certain amount of time. If your release force hasn't arrived here by April the 3rd, then we will take the castle and you won't resist. And people would agree to that. Another thing that might happen is people might start attacking a castle, and if they broke through the first wall of defences, they would say to the defenders, look, this is only going to end one way. Finish now and you can take your stuff with you. You can go with honour if you like. But if you resist, we have the right to destroy everything inside. You will all be killed and slaughtered, and we will steal all the gold. This would also happen with walled cities as well. A great way to intimidate the defenders and save some of your attacking troops. The reality is, no matter how great a castle or walled city was, it was going to fall without a relief force. And the people inside knew this. Occasionally they would fight to the bitter end, but quite often sieges had phases in them where the attackers or defenders had an advantage for a period of time, and there would be negotiations, as strange as that may sound to us today. So almost all castles, when you go to them, have a story. Even if it isn't a story of siege and attack, it could be a story of a very interesting family. A lot of the castles, the very first one that you saw, as I said, was actually built through money generated by victories of the 100 Years' War. Sometimes they may be royal households, and a famous king might have been born in that castle, or held prisoner in that castle. So have fun with castles. They're a great part of history. At History Gems endeavours to give you history on the go, 7 days a week. So if you like this, there's at History Gems on Twitter and on Facebook with longer articles, and indeed there's the book, The Busy Person's Guide to British History, available as an ebook and as an actual book available on Amazon. See you soon.